Hello, boys. Welcome to English second paper class. How are you all? I hope all of you are staying well and healthy. This is your Simimis now with you to continue this virtual presentation. Dear boys, in our previous lectures, in several lectures, we have been discussing about transformation of sentences. And we have almost completed the discussion about transformation of sentences. Maybe some topics are left. We will finish it very soon. So dear boys, today we are going to discuss sentence connectors. I have already provided two classes on sentence connectors, and this is the third class I am providing you about sentence connectors. So dear boys, here you can see some sentence connectors. So this is a preview of today's lesson. You can see some sentence connectors here, but we will discuss in details in our lecture. So what to discuss in this lesson? What we are going to discuss? Firstly, we will discuss sentence connectors in detail, use of different types of connectors, which connectors to use to mean similarity, contrast, result, addition, and listing, exemplification, particularization, emphasis, refutation, and so on. Okay? Which connectors to use to mean similarity, contrast, result, addition, and listing, exemplification, particularization, emphasis, refutation, and so on. Then we will get an exercise and we will try to do it. Then soft alert of the next lesson. So dear boys, what will be the outcome of the lesson? So after watching the lesson, what will we learn? You will learn the uses of different types of sentence connectors. You will learn where and how to use sentence connectors in a sentence. You will be able to use different types of connectors in sentences. So dear boys, firstly here we have similarity. To mean similarity, which connectors to use? Here we have a list of some connectors which we can use to mean similarity. For example, here you see likewise. To mean similarity, we can use the connector likewise. Okay? Similarity we can use similarly. To mean similarity, we can use similarly. We can use correspondence, by the same token, in the same way. So, here you can see an example. Men must wear a jacket and a tie. Similarly, women must wear a skirt or a dress, not trousers. You can say similarly, or you can say likewise. Men must wear a jacket and a tie. Likewise, women must wear a skirt or a dress, not trousers. Okay? Or you can say men must wear a jacket and a tie. By the same token, or in the same way, women must wear a skirt or a dress, not trousers. Okay? So she was late and I similarly was delayed. So here you see similarly. Okay? To mean similarity. Okay? You can't teach navigation in the middle of a storm. Likewise, you can't build a system of values in the current educational climate. Okay? So here you see likewise. You can say you can't teach navigation in the middle of a storm. Okay? Or you can say similarly or similarity, or you can say by the same token or in the same way, You can't build a system of values in the current educational climate. So let's move to the next point. So to mean contrast, we can use some other connectors. So here you can see the list of connectors. To mean contrast, okay, we can use nonetheless, in contrast, conversely, however, yet, still, on the other hand, nevertheless, even so, in spite of this, despite that, or despite this. So here you can see the example. So direct opposition. Direct to mean direct opposition, we can say Rupa worked hard. On the other hand, or in contrast, or however, Ratul hardly did any work at all. Rupa worked hard. On the other hand, or in contrast, or however, Ratul hardly did any work at all. Joy is lazy. In contrast, or however, Bill is a pessimist. Extroverts love crowds. In contrast, introverts prefer solitude. Okay, so here you have got the different uses of different connectors to mean contrast. I hope you have understood the points. Now move to the next one. Okay, so here you have some other examples. Okay, Daniel, denial of expectation. To mean denial of expectation or unexpected result, we can use this type of connectors. She studied diligently for several months. Nevertheless, however, yet, nonetheless, she failed. George is very handsome, yet he is not popular with girls. Okay? To mean result, you can use these connectors. Consequently, accordingly, thus, therefore, as a result, as a consequence, hence, for this or for that reason, for this reason or for that reason, because of that, because of this. So let's move to example. He passed his exams, therefore, or thus, hence, or accordingly, or consequently, he had some good news to tell his parents. You can say, he passed his exam, therefore, he had some good news to tell his parents. Thus, he had some good news to tell his parents. Hence, he had some good news to tell his parents. Right. Mr. Brown is an outstanding scientist, hence, he is highly respected. He lacks self confidence. As a consequence, he is unlikely to be successful. So, as a consequence, hence, so these all are connectors. So, to mean addition and listing, we can use also, besides, further, moreover, furthermore, in addition, first of all, to begin with, in the first place, for one thing. Okay? To mean secondly, second, in the second place, another thing. Okay? Thirdly, you can say third, in the third place. Finally, lastly, or last of all. Okay, for example, John plays football. Moreover, or besides, also, he runs a restaurant. Okay, here you see, John plays football. Now, to add some information or to list, we can use this type of connectors. Moreover, besides, also, he runs a restaurant. When we are adding some information more, then we can use this type of connectors. Okay, Leah writes short stories. In addition, she writes articles for newspaper. Okay, so this is now to talk about time. We can use these connectors at first, afterwards, later, then, in the meantime, or meanwhile. Okay, I read the morning papers for a while. Afterwards, so this afterwards is used to mean time, to talk about time. I took a shower. First, insert the receiver and then insert a coin into the coin box. So this first indicates time. The party Tuesday, but in the meantime, I have to shop and prepare the food. So this in the meantime indicating time. So now let's talk about some connectors which are giving meaning of exemplification. To talk about exemplification or to write something about example. So when we are going to give some example, then we can use this type of connectors. You can use for instance or for example or to illustrate. Okay. So when we are going to give example or exemplification, then we can use this for instance. We can say for example, we can say to illustrate. Okay. So here you can see the example. Women generally live longer than men. For instance, for example, to illustrate, in the United States, life expectancy for women is 75, while it is 73 for men. Earthquakes can be highly destructive. To illustrate, the earthquake which occurred in Erzincan in 1939 devastated the whole town, killing more than 35,000 people. Okay, now let's talk about particularization. To mean to particularize, we can use some connectors like in particular, particularly, specifically. Okay, so let's talk about example. Shopping in small markets is quite advantageous. In particular, one can find specific items that larger stores do not contain. So here, in particular, that means we are specifying the place, right? So we still needed to arrange several details for the trip. Specifically, see, we are particularizing the trip. We still needed to arrange several details for the trip. Specifically, we had to make plane and train reservations as well as decide on the final itinerary. So here you see emphasis. To emphasize, we can use in fact, as a matter of facts, indeed, or actually. He is quite healthy, in fact. So we are emphasizing. In fact, he is one of the richest men in the city. I like reading, as a matter of fact. So we are emphasizing. It is my favorite pastime. Okay. So here you see exemplification. Sorry, explanation. That is, in other words, that is to say, namely. Okay. To explain or to give explanation, we can use this type of connectors like that is, in other words, that is to say, and namely. The brochure dealt with traveling in Morocco, that is, or in other words, or namely, it discussed transportation, currency, and language. The machinery was not impaired, that is, it wasn't damaged. So here we can see reputation. For refutation, we can use on the contrary. To mean reputation, we can use the connectors on the contrary. She is not ugly. On the contrary, you see, here we are refuting. She is a good looking girl. She is not ugly. On the contrary, she is a good looking girl. I don't hate classical music. On the contrary, I am very fond of it. Okay. So, dear boys, here you can see an exercise. We must be aware of the dangers of smoking. It is harmful to us in various ways. It causes various diseases dash blood pressure, heart attack, bronchitis, cancer, etc. B dash it pollutes air dash smoking causes harm to D dash the smokers E dash the non-smokers who remain by them F dash we should give up smoking G dash it is dash great an addiction to get rid of it dash nothing is impossible for us dash we are determined to give up it we can certainly do it. So dear boys, this is a practice. Try to do it by yourself. And in the next class, I will solve this problem. First, try by yourself. So in our next class, we will discuss about connectors part 4. That class is going to be a practice class on sentence connectors. So dear boys, if you find any problem regarding sentence connectors, feel free to ask me. So that's the end of today's lesson. Take care of yourself and take care of your family members. Above all, be attentive in your studies. Dear boys, take care. Thanks to you all.